Okay, this has gone on for far too long, and at this point, we need to have this conversation. Stop putting Fender decals on Squiers and other non-Fender guitars. Just stop. It's insane to me that we have to even talk about this, but lately, you wouldn't believe how many people will show up in a Squier guitar group and make a post showing off their upgrades, and they'll take a perfectly good Squier, sand the Squier decal off, and replace it with a fake counterfeit Fender decal, and honestly expect people to praise them for it. And then people do. This is like a huge disrespect to us true Squier fans, and you're not getting any points with the Fender owners either. Now, I've heard every excuse in the book from, well, it's my guitar and I can do whatever I like to it, to, I just had an extra Fender decal laying around, to, well, I just like the way the Fender decal looks better than the Squier one. Or, hello, it's a tribute guitar, so it has to have the Fender decal, or the newest, sneakiest one. Well, it's a Fender neck. Sure it is. And no matter what the excuse is, they always end with, well, it's my guitar and I'll never sell it. Sure you won't. But you know what? Even if you are telling the truth, and I don't exactly expect honesty from someone who puts a fake Fender decal on their Squier, but even if you somehow never do sell it, here's something to think about. What about when you die? What happens? Yeah, yet another fake Fender goes on the market. Look, you can try to excuse it any way you want, but in the end, there's only two possible reasons that you slap a counterfeit Fender decal on a guitar. Either you want people to think that you paid for a Fender when you really paid for a Squier, or you're actively attempting to rip people off. Period. And frankly, at this point, I'm just as tired of the good, honest, moral guitarists allowing this crap to slide as I am of the dishonest people doing it. I belong to a bunch of Squier groups, and people post these counterfeit quote-unquote Fenders all the time, expecting to be praised, and a lot of the people do exactly that. Or the comments will be filled with people saying that, oh, it doesn't matter, or it's your guitar, do whatever you want. And because the group moderators don't want to lose any members, regardless of how shady or immoral they are, they rarely step in and help remove this counterfeit crap. But the fact is, it does matter. And the only people saying that it doesn't matter are the counterfeiters and the people who don't see why it's so wrong. If we strip away everything else, people are falsely presenting these instruments as something they aren't. So at the least, it's misrepresenting them. And at the worst, it's counterfeiting. It's dishonest, shady, and just plain wrong. That being said, some people have no problem being dishonest, shady, and just plain wrong. I can guarantee you that if the same scummy people who put fake Fender decals on their Squiers, they would feel a lot different if they bought a quote-unquote Fender for cheap and later found out it was a Squier with a counterfeit Fender decal. Or here's another situation that nobody talks about. Sure, most of us serious guitarists could probably spot a fake Fender, but could your mom, or your sister, or your dad? People who don't know a lot about guitars will look at the headstock, see it's a Fender, and probably be excited at the prospect of getting such a quote-unquote good guitar at such a low price. And like I said, even if it's not your intention to rip people off, if that guitar ever leaves your possession, even after you're gone, it can now be used to rip people off. And don't give me that tribute crap either. Look, I make my own guitars, and you can get a water slide decal with literally anything you want on it. I've replaced my stock Squier decals with other Squier decals because I liked them better, and I've had custom Chris Key decals made in a font similar to the Fender decal, but it wouldn't be right to buy a $99 guitar kit, slap a fake Fender decal on it, and attempt to sell it as a Fender. And this isn't any different. And lastly, I'm going to mention that on top of all these reasons that this crap is wrong, it's also a slap in the face to us true Squier fans. And Fender fans don't appreciate it much either. Some of us are damned proud of our modest Squiers and the amazing instruments that we've turned them into without having to resort to misrepresenting them as Fenders. Look, I've personally been a die-hard Squier fanatic since 1997, and you wouldn't believe the snobbery I've endured over the years or the looks I got showing up to gigs with my Squiers and Peavies. I've even been called unprofessional because I didn't have the right decal on my headstock. even though I knew my guitar could blow theirs out of the water. And look, now nearly 30 years later, when people are basically being forced to admit that Squier makes good, decent, perfectly gig-worthy guitars, there are still people out here that are so insecure in their playing that they slap a fake Fender decal on their guitar and further this BS Fender is obviously better than Squier stigma. You know, when people put a fake Fender decal on their Squier, they think they're out here fooling other people, but mostly I think they're trying to fool themselves. If what other people think is so damn important to you, buy a real Fender. But I say that you should be proud of your guitar regardless of what brand it is. But then again, I'm pretty confident in my playing and my guitars. And the brand name isn't so important to me because I actually know what makes a guitar good. There are literally more guitarists right now than in any other time in history. And since quarantine, guitar sales have been astronomical. But most of these people are new to guitar. And I even know guitarists who have played for years. And when they're attempting to determine if a guitar is good, the first thing they look at is the name on the headstock. They have no idea what really makes a guitar good. If you don't believe me, just look in some of your guitar groups. People will literally do this throw money thing at a guitar and replace the pickups, the tuners, the bridge, and then they'll post a picture to brag. And when you look closely, even though they've hemorrhaged money into this guitar, the damn thing won't even be intonated. No matter what decal's on the headstock, that thing isn't going to play in tune. Bottom line is this crap needs to stop. If you're one of the counterfeiters, I've made my case and y'all know how I feel. And I highly doubt this will change anything for you. Because I'm sure that deep down, if you have a deep down, you have to know that this is wrong. But yet you continue to do it. My real plea here is to the good, decent, moral guitarists out there. I'm begging you guys. If you see this crap, stand up and call it out. Don't let someone's mom or dad get ripped off. Open your mouth. Say something. You wouldn't want your loved one to get ripped off, so don't let them rip someone else's loved one off. We're all in this together. And if y'all will just stand up with me, we can shut this crap down. Do your part. Take care of each other. And let those scummy people know what time it is.